Hi everyone, welcome to the June edition of Wavelength. Well, the LCRA Board of Directors held their May meeting on the road in Wharton. Board members and senior staff took a day before the meeting to tour several facilities in Wharton and Matagorda counties. The day started on the Colorado River at Pumping Plant Number 3 in Bay City. This facility is part of LCRA's Gulf Coast Irrigation District, which this season is providing water for almost 25,000 acres of rice. On its way to the rice fields, the water flows through a system of main canals 360 miles long. The plant building has just undergone a complete renovation, but the pumps and related equipment inside date back to the 1930s. The pumping reservoir for the plant is created by the Bay City Dam. This is a unique structure which uses air bladders made of Kevlar to raise steel gates into position.
Each bladder controls two sections of gates. Each gate is 8 foot wide, 10 foot tall.
Next, a quick stop at Matagorda Bay to see the mouth of the Colorado River. Then on to the Celanese Bay City plant. LCRA Board Chair I.O. Coleman has worked here at the Celanese plant for 27 years as a staff environmental chemist. This plant is LCRA's largest water customer, pumping over 900 million gallons a year from the Colorado River. The Celanese plant produces a variety of chemical compounds.
Our acetyls, where we make vinyl acetate, of course. We also make alcohols, butanol, propanol, and synthetic fatty acids. Most of our material is what we call bulk material, or an intermediate. It is not a final product, but we ship it to customers that make other products.
Those customer products include Elmer's glue, paint, medicine, and adhesives. Board members and staff next visited the FM 521 River Park in Matagorda County. This is one of the newest LCRA parks on the Colorado.
There are two phases to this project. One was the actual river park development, which is basically from here on over, and then the recent development of the boat ramp, which was completed in December.
It is customary for the LCRA board to hold 1 or 2 meetings a year in various communities around the service area.
I think it's a great idea to visit the different communities to see where the LCRA resources are used and to meet the people who are working with them and to see all the area that we actually serve.
The good thing about it is in being with our frontline employees and letting them show us what they do and what it means to them and their families.
In the mid-1930s, Central Texas, like the rest of America, was caught in the depths of the Great Depression. Times were hard, and jobs were scarce.
When the LCRA started construction of Buckhannon Dam in 1934, it breathed new life into the Central Texas economy. At the height of construction, there were 2,000 people working on the project. This massive structure signaled the beginning of flood control for the Colorado River, and it brought electricity for the first time to the Texas Hill Country. Buckhannon Dam was dedicated in 1937, and its 2 hydroelectric units lit up the region with 25 megawatts of power. And now, for the first time in over 60 years, these generating units have been opened up for a complete overhaul. In some ways, it's like opening a time capsule.
The thing that's been really interesting to me is, I guess, an appreciation for the level of intelligence and ingenuity that took place some 60 years ago, prior to people having computers and so forth, when they were doing their work with slide rules and a pencil and paper and maybe a big eraser. But when you go in there and take a look at the work we do now with the tools that we have, and then compare it with the work they did back then, it gives you just a tremendous level of appreciation for those who came before us.
This rehabilitation of Units 1 and 2 at Buckhannon is an $11.5 million project. All of the on-site work is being done by LCRA employees, work that in the past has been contracted out. Employees say they have learned a great deal as they go. It took 6 weeks to completely disassemble Unit 1. Then the crews took down Unit 2 in just 21 days. This brand new stainless steel water wheel, which spins the electric generator, is on its way back into Unit 1. This is a significant turning point in the process.
Well, when we put the water wheel in today, it was a major milestone because now we're at the part of completely reassembling the machine. Where before this time we've been doing a lot of tweaking and adjusting and getting parts to fit, getting new parts to fit in old places and getting the equipment aligned. Now that we've got everything done as far as alignment goes, we can now do the final assembly.
Troy Ellett, a 27-year veteran of the LCRA, says working on these hydro units has special meaning for him.
That's what makes our kind of work rewarding, is to stand back and look and see what you've accomplished. And our hope is that we put these back almost as good as they did in 1937. And my hope is that we put them back as good. And with the new processes, we really should be putting them back better. With the stainless steels that we have today and the new technology, we should really be putting them back in better shape now than they ever were. But time will tell about that one.
The schedule calls for Unit 1 to be back online by mid-July and Unit 2 by the end of the year.
Lake Travis can be a beautiful, relaxing place to spend quiet time on the water. But this can quickly become this on a sunny summer weekend. Memorial Day officially kicks off the summer boating season in Texas, and for the third year in a row, Texas Parks and Wildlife, Travis County Sheriff's Department, and the Lower Colorado River Authority are joining forces to beef up patrols on area lakes and rivers. Of course, the #1 priority of this boating safety effort is to get drunk boaters off the water.
Almost every serious accident that we have in our lake is alcohol related. And so I want people to remember, just as it is against the law to drive your car while intoxicated, it is against the law to drive your boat while intoxicated. And we will have, in conjunction with all of our partners out here on the lake, we will be patrolling the lake, and if there are people that are operating their boats while intoxicated, they are going to be arrested.
There are some new water safety laws being enforced this year. Personal watercraft such as jet skis must stay at least 50 feet apart while underway. Expired boat registration now carries a minimum $100 fine, and anyone born after September 1st, 1984 must take and pass a boater education course before operating a powerboat over 10 horsepower. Boating safety experts say that following these rules can drastically reduce the number of serious accidents on our waterways. Don't drive a boat if you're drinking alcohol. Always wear a life jacket. Be very careful while operating a personal watercraft, and be aware of changing conditions on the water.
If you look behind me, you'll notice that the lake is very full. But as the summer goes by, with all the dry weather that's been predicted, the lake levels are going to be declining. As the lake levels decline, the location and the nature of boating hazards change. So even if you think you know the lake pretty well at this level, when the lake's 10 feet lower or 15 feet lower, as it may be by this time in the fall, the location and the nature of those boating hazards is going to change.
Lake Travis also has a nighttime speed limit of 20 miles per hour. Our final message for boaters is taken from Jack Chandler of Leander High School, winner of LCRA's Boater Education Poster Contest. This month around the LCRA, we take you to Smithville, where city officials are marking a milestone for the future of their community. With the turn of a shovel, construction will now begin on a new wastewater treatment plant. The facility will be owned jointly by the LCRA and the City of Smithville and will be operated by the LCRA.
This will allow us to have a sewer capacity that will serve us from our current 4,000 population to probably 6,000 or 7,000. And will allow us to grow, will allow us to be able to offer those services to people who want to come in, both residents as well as customers, commercial and industrial, so that we can grow.
I've got a goal at LCRA, and that is that the service of water and wastewater to any of our towns should be something that a town does not have to worry about. That ought to be a service that's just as basic as the electric service that we provide. A town shouldn't have to worry if it has the capability to take care of its future growth because it is limited by water and wastewater services.
Following this groundbreaking, the group moved across town for another important ceremony. It looks like a park, but what's being dedicated here is really a stormwater detention pond designed to stop a terrible erosion problem and to clean up the stormwater runoff before it enters the Colorado River. This project was made possible by a partnership between the LCRA and the City of Smithville, with financing provided through a $220,000 grant from the Environmental Protection Agency and the Texas Natural Resource Conservation Commission.
This represents one of the first grants that we ever made to a small city, a city under 5,000 people. And before then, we had always looked at huge problems. But when LCRA came to us and said they had a proposal from a small town and really had done the background work, had done their homework, I really felt that it required everybody taking a good look at it. And so while we met with a little resistance originally, EPA finally bought into it, and I think that it's wonderful. It's turned out just great.
This is quite a contrast to what the site looked like 1 year ago. It was a badly eroded wash, littered with debris.
We've got about an area of 20-25 acres that drains to a pipe outlet right here. Downstream of the pipe outlet is quite a bit of erosion that's taken place over time, has created quite a gully. And with the developed area, with the gas stations, car washes, and everything else, from the monitoring we've seen and what you would typically expect, a fair amount of pollutants coming off of the area. The area has been kind of an eyesore to the city. It's been somewhat of a dumping ground.
Civil engineering students from Texas A&M University were given the opportunity to submit designs for the structure called a best management practice.
Our solution to this erosion problem right off is going to be to install our sedimentation basin with an earthen channel which can handle the flow. We've designed it to handle the 25-year flood, and we've thrown in a half-a-foot freeboard to handle the 100-year storm even.
Construction started on the project in June of '97. These wire cages filled with rocks are called gabions. They slow down fast-moving water and allow soil, chemicals, and other pollutants to settle out. Civic groups, residents, city employees, and LCRA employees all pitched in to help with this project.
We must have 40 or 50 volunteers out here today working on this program. The Garden Club, the Keep Smithville Beautiful Committee, city council members, the city judge, and others volunteering their time and effort to beautify our community. And you could go all over town and you see the same kinds of things, but that's the reason that we've been so successful here, is due to our to the volunteerism in Smithville.
This is only one part of the city. Basically what's happening here will impact about a 10 square block area, but there's other major parts of the city where there's terrific drainage problems, standing water, grading problems, etc. And so we are writing a master drainage plan that will propose solutions for those problems and alternative funding mechanisms for that.
Mr. Rivers, will you come over to this side?
The third and final deliverable under the grant is a documentary video of the entire process. The video will be used by the TNRCC and EPA to show other communities how this project came together and the various partnerships which were created to help complete it.
The people come down here, I see them with picnic lunches. They bring the children down here to run these slopes. It has just been a tremendous improvement to the aesthetic value of the community. It's just serving a multiple purpose for the community, and we're so proud that we can show off this project and be an example for other communities maybe to want to do some type of improvement of this nature.
In May, LCRA's management team took their fish fry show out west to Mason County. These events are designed to bring local elected officials and community leaders together with the LCRA staff and board members to share in a good meal and just to visit.
Certainly this is a tremendous affair. I noticed that I've already met people from
several other places, and bringing them all together and having some association with people from other communities and share solutions to problems that are common to all of us has to be a great thing.
Having an occasion such as this in Mason County is an honor to the citizens of Mason County, and the citizens of Mason County are very strong supporters of the Lower Colorado River Authority, very much so. We appreciate having been a part of it.
The City of Mason is a wholesale electric customer of the LCRA, with the remainder of the county being served by Central Texas Electric Cooperative, which also is supplied by the LCRA.
Being a small community, we don't have the manpower or the wherewithal to be like some of the bigger independents, and we really depend on LCRA in a lot of respects for quality service. I lean on LCRA for a lot of information and a lot of help that you guys provide, and I think it's a very sincere help that you do provide to the smaller communities.
When Heather Mernon was 15 months old, doctors gave her a 5% chance of surviving her recently diagnosed cancer. Now, 7 years later, Heather is officially opening the Bastrop Relay for Life, a community fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. The opening ceremonies included a parade of cancer survivors and the introduction of 38 teams which volunteered to raise money by running or walking laps around the track for 24 continuous hours.
We actually had 5 different teams from LCRA. 2 teams were from Sim Gideon, 1 was from FPP, and 2 teams were from the General Office Complex. And a total of about 55 volunteers. And most of us have been here all night. It was a close to 24-hour relay, and it was very fulfilling and rewarding, and we're really excited because we were able to raise a lot of money.
Additional funds were raised by sponsorship of these luminaries. Each bag was $5 and represents either a cancer survivor or a victim. Volunteers from the Sim Gideon Power Plant in Bastrop donated all of the time and materials to create these luminaries.
We actually did about 2,750 of those over a period of about 10 days, prepared them, and then came out Friday morning before the thing started and put them all out like you see out here on the track. Spaced them the way they were supposed to be spaced, tried to make them look as good as we could make them look. And as it turned out, last night when they were lit and the lights went down, it was a very beautiful sight. Turned out very well. We're real proud of what we did.
As each luminary was lit, the stadium lights turned out, creating an incredible ring of flickering light. Participants walked in the darkened track to find the names of their loved ones who have been touched by this terrible disease.
I had bags that I was looking for last night for relatives of mine that have died from cancer. My husband put a bag out for me. I was looking for it. Everybody was walking around looking for their bags. It was real moving when they turned out all the lights and lit the bags. And the music was extremely emotional for a lot of us that were sitting up in the stands and remembering those that didn't make it.
Team members walked through the night and into the next day, which eventually became a celebration of life.
The first place team is the Cure.
Awards were presented to teams in several different categories. LCRA's Bruce Wassinger ran the most laps of any individual, the equivalent of a marathon, 26 miles. He dedicated his run in memory of his father, who died of cancer. More than 1,000 people participated in the event, which raised over $50,000 for cancer research.
So to think that you can be involved in an event like this, that you can honor those people that have lost the fight, and that you can do something to help those who are still in it, that's what community is all about. That's what this event is all about. Thank y'all. Everybody in? Yeah. Listen, thank y'all so much for doing this. This is very, very meaningful. Ready? Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
And it's fires like that one in Marfa that local LCRA officials want to prevent right here in Central Texas. That's why starting this Friday, burning bans will be in effect at all LCRA parks in the Highland Lakes area. News 36's Thomas Aitchison reports.
3 days and counting until the rush of campers hits local parks for Memorial Day weekend. But before the outdoor hoopla kicks in, the LCRA has this reminder.
The LCRA is very committed to visitor safety, protecting the natural resources, and protecting our adjoining neighbors' land.
Which means, you guessed it, more burning bans. The LCRA has joined a growing list of counties taking extra precautions during the heat. Their ban means no ground fires of any type in any LCRA park.
If people aren't paying attention, if they leave their fire unattended, it could do quite a bit of damage within a very small length of time.
The ban also prohibits setting fires in any type of fire ring. It may look safe because it's somewhat contained, but LCRA officials say one small spark and dry grass like this could go up in flames. Even some private campsites have had to issue burning bans, mainly because they're already included in one of several county-wide bans.
We try to tell all of our people before they come out, if we know they're coming, that we are in a burning ban, from make sure they bring something, their own barbecue pit, and this and that and other.
And that's the only exception. Barbecue grills or cooking stoves are allowed as long as they're above ground. Anything else has been labeled too dangerous for the dry conditions.
We have excellent volunteer fire departments in this area, but again, they're remote, and if it takes a while for the response time, the fire could go pretty far.
Again, these burning bans go into effect this Friday, just in time for Memorial Day weekend. LCRA officials say it's traditionally one of their busiest weekends of the year. They expect large crowds, and they'll have rangers out of their parks patrolling, making sure that people don't violate the burning ban by starting any ground fires. They say it's a very serious, considering these dry conditions, and that they will enforce these laws without hesitation. Stacy?
And being prepared can really make a critical difference. Tonight, we'll help answer your questions about severe weather so you can protect yourself, your loved ones, and your property.
That's right, Judy. Knowing what to do before a storm hits can really increase your odds of surviving the storm, both physically and financially. So tonight we've assembled a team of experts, meteorologists, emergency management officials, insurance experts, to answer your questions about severe weather. Perhaps you have questions about our severe weather season here in Central Texas. Experts from the National Weather Service can help you there. If you have insurance questions, that's why the phone bank has been set up, as Gerald and our Central Texas tornadoes are high on our minds. The phone number right now is 459-6534. These experts will be here throughout our newscast tonight to help answer your questions. We've also put together a severe weather pamphlet. The LCRA and KV24 have put together a severe weather safety guide. These guides are available free of charge here at our KV24 studios and at the LCRA. Pamphlet is full of information about tornado, lightning, and flooding safety. Of course, you can pick those up free here at the KV24 studios or at the LCRA. But right now, our panel of severe weather experts, including our own Curtis Nichols, is on the phone ready to take your call at 459-6534.
The Memorial Day weekend ends on a somber note at Lake Buckhannon. One person is killed and 3 others injured when their boat flies over the Buckhannon Dam spillway. 33-year-old Shelley Sledge Phillips was killed by the impact. Her husband, Glenn Phillips, survived the crash, as did Lisa Hall and Richard Grimes. They are being treated at Brackenridge Hospital. The accident occurred at the east spillway of the dam, and that's where we find KV24's Danny Edwards. We'll see you. Danny, has anything like this happened before at this particular lake?
Well, Judy, the LCRA says in the history of the dam, it's never heard of anything like this, although locals say there was a similar accident within the past 5 years. What exactly happened? Well, witnesses tell us that the boat came around and hit this wall right here. So as you can see, it's only a couple of feet from the water line, but it flew over this wall and landed to the ground below, which is about 25 feet below.
I heard this noise, you know, and I seen this boat coming. And I told somebody, I said, my God, they fixing to hit that thing over there. And I seen that boat go across that thing over there.
Richard Mills watched helplessly as the 17-foot open-deck boat flew across the spillway. While he arrived to help as soon as possible, there was little he could do.
One guy, he finally woke up and asked me what happened. I said, man, you run that boat over that thing wide open, you know. Then he passed out again.
Don Kirkendall also saw the accident coming. He says the boat looked like it was running at full speed.
That's where the boat hit right here. and all the way down to here. It kind of hit on the left corner of it and kind of skidded in like so.
With the water so high on this lake, Kirkendall says he doesn't believe the boaters saw the same thing.
It's kind of spooky, you know. It looked like they just headed right off, like if there was water. With the optical illusion and everything, he probably thought there was still water going, and he had room to turn.
Shelley and Glenn Phillips were the managers of the Lake Point Cottages, which also rents out boats. Locals say they'd only been out in the Lake Buckhannon area about a year, which could explain why they were unfamiliar with the spillway.
No one ever goes out by the dam. Usually, if you go by the dam, you know where the spillway's at, you know to be careful.
Crystal Duncan says she stays away from the dam, especially at night, since there are no markers indicating how close you are to the spillway.
Marble Falls has buoys, and LBJ has markers around their dams to let you notify that the dam's coming up, so that I know of. But at least you can tell when you're getting close to a dam.
Now, we asked the LCRA why there are no markers out by this dam as there are by the others. And they were telling us that this is a fluctuating lake. The levels go up and down, and more often than not, this area is dry. So if there were markers out here, more often than not, they'd be on dry land most of the time. By the way, Judy, we talked with Parks and Wildlife, who's also investigating this case, and they're checking to see if there was alcohol related in this accident.
We'll see what happens next. Keeping you safe on the lakes is the reason KB24 and the LCRA have put together a free boating safety kit. This information pack contains a variety of safety information. You may pick yours up during business hours here at KB24 Studios on Steck Avenue or at the LCRA headquarters downtown.
In the June edition of the LCRA News, employees reveal their favorite restaurants around the service area. And you can read about a special project at the Ferguson Power Plant in Marble Falls designed to reduce air emissions. Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. We'll look forward to seeing you again next time.